So the problem with Pearl right now in solo queue in high elo is that the only like decent controller is Astra if you're playing solo controller. And the point of this guide is to kind of change that and give everyone an option that isn't Astra, okay? Because Astra's really complicated, she's hard to play, requires a lot of team coordination, and it's just not an agent I like recommending to people who aren't at least immortal. I've come up with a set of strategies for Viper on this map that I believe makes her quite viable, even in high elo. So we have 3 different setups for defense that we're going to go over first. Okay, we're going to start on defense. I need to show you a couple orbs first. So the first defensive orb that I'm going to show you is pretty straightforward. You see these lines on the back wall? You're just going to walk up to the second one, and you're going to aim a bit over this train in the background on the left side. It's very lenient, okay? And that orb's just going to land right here. Then there's one other orb we need to know, which is also pretty easy. You just walk into the corner of this pillar, okay? It's pretty lenient. And then do you see this corner of this window thing? Of course you see it. You just align the top right of your poison orb with that, and you're going to do a jump and like an instant throw, okay? And that orb is going to come all the way over here, and it's going to land a main, okay? So those are the 2 orbs that we need to know for defense, because our defensive setups are going to cover like the whole map. Real quick now, I'm going to go pre-round to show you how these setups look, because they're actually pretty tight.
30 seconds left.
So defense here, if I'm throwing that B orb, you have to throw the orb decently quickly. It's nothing crazy, okay? It looks like that. And then we have to run A. So we're throwing this B orb when we want to play on A, generally, to hold A site. People who've been watching my stream a lot, you've seen this B orb, okay? Then you come A, and you're going to throw the wall so it intersects the doors right there, okay? And this is where we're usually the A anchor. It's very common for us to play back sight in this type of scenario, to use our mollies on the stairs as they're coming out. Maybe we play up on this wall is pretty decent. You play over here on the left side. And as they're pushing, you can swing out. Okay? So that's if we want to defend A. And here we have our orb on B to assist them. Okay? Let's pick this up. And let me show real quick the next setup that uses the other orb I showed.
30.
And then we're going to run A-Link. I know it seems funny that we're using that orb lineup for this setup, but that's because the third setup also uses that orb lineup, so you may as well practice it. So now this one is a wall. We're just going to stand in this corner and aim along the edge of this pillar. Okay? And you're just going to throw the wall. So this setup, we're still A side, but this is if mid has become a really annoying point of contention, which happens a lot on Pearl. Okay? And what this wall is good for, if we put it up, I've tested this a ton. If you lurk into this corner here and they rush mid a lot, you get infinite value over here, okay? This is best if you have a friend, especially against an initiator. So if they have like a Sova Dart, a Fade Eye or something, and it might reveal you here, it's very useful to make sure you have another friend Art who's ready to break that. So you use this lurk angle, preferably with a friend set up Art, and you put this wall up against mid rushes. Shouldn't the A main orb be deeper? That's not possible. This is where the spawn barrier starts. So our orb can't really go deeper. So this is when you're facing lots of mid pressure. Okay? This is a really powerful wall. And from their POV, it looks kind of like this. Okay? It's pretty awkward for them to push. Notice here they can't just peek doors. See how awkward this wall is for them? So this is a really useful wall for contesting mid. And it's very unlikely they're going to clear you here. If they're like coming up to do this type of peek, they will not see you. This lurk angle is really powerful. I want you guys to limit test this a bit against mid rushes, okay? Because you do have to get a feel for like, when is it good to maybe peek out? You know, when is it good to just wait and listen? You have to get a feel for that, but it's a really strong wall, okay? Then our final setup, we throw the same A orb, but this is if we want to play B, okay? So we throw the same orb, and that's why we learned that lineup, because now we're going to come B side. Now, I like to play B with a wall that goes kind of diagonally like this through this corner, and it blocks top B as well, okay? And this wall, it gives up a lot of B long. So we generally want to pair this wall with an initiator on B with us. We don't just want to play on site with this wall. So when we're playing B with this wall, we want to take these aggressive early engagements. We want to contest this outer space. And then after maybe we kill one or we get pushed back because they use a lot of util, then we'll come over here and we'll play this wall to defend the site. Okay? So we don't use this wall and just play on B. That's way too passive. That's pretty much the util setups, the 3 different ways we could play. So we have playing to hold A, playing to fight for mid, and playing to fight for B. So all 3 options pretty much, okay? So we want to basically switch between those depending on which feels the strongest. And when we have Viper ult, we generally want to Viper ult A and throw that B orb for our team. Let's go talk about offense. So on offense, similar to Icebox, we're going to be defaulting a wall. You walk into this corner, and you're just going to aim for this back corner here in Hall, okay? So just like Icebox, we just throw that wall right at the start, and then we're going to play the rest of the round. Now there's a couple lineups I need to show you for offense, and they're really simple, okay? I worked hard to make these as simple as possible. Let me put this barrier down. So all of the lineups I'm about to show you are thrown just from this corner for A, okay? So you stand in this corner, and I'm going to show you a lineup that lands flowers or dugout. So do you see this upper ring up here? So these notches in it will help us determine where we're going to aim our orb. So if we want to smoke flowers, it's 2 notches. And if we want to smoke dugout, it's 4 notches. And both times you aim just a bit to the left of the notch that you've chosen. So let's say we want to smoke dugout. Well, you aim a bit to the, flowers, a bit to the left of the second one. Okay. And you see that's just going to land right there. Bam. Flowers is smoked off. Then we go back, and now you should already know how to throw the dugout smoke, right? You just count, you throw the same exact orb, but you count 4 instead. 1, 2, 3, 4, a bit to the left on the pipe, okay? Bam. You just left click. Bam. There you go. This B wall looks similar to the wall you put up on B defense. No, there's a very important distinction here. The B defensive wall goes from there to here. It controls sight. The B defensive wall goes up before the attackers are on site. This offensive wall controls this part of sight for the team. Do you see? And it controls this hall's peak. It also controls these people who may walk out, blink on the retake. It's very difficult to play retake against this wall. Like imagine you're on B retake. Really hard for you to walk out here, right? You can't walk out this way. Your shoulder exposes to halls. So you kind of just have to wait or walk through a Viper wall. So I've showed those 2 A orb lineups. And then generally our playstyle is going to be lots of mid pressure. So I don't know if you guys have played any Split before, but let me pull up Valoplant. And I need to explain a very important concept to you here. So on Split, on offense, go watch high elo games and you're going to notice a repeating pattern. The offense tries to get a very late mid lurker, usually tucked like here, over here. And they try to plant the bomb out in the open, somewhere exposed to heaven. Anywhere that can be seen from heaven, okay? Really important on Split. Now, this concept is also really important on Pearl. And people don't play this as much as they should yet. But this is going to become very meta very soon. So we're going to be a bit ahead of the game. So on Pearl, it's exactly the same idea. So a plant like this on A is bad, okay? For the same reason that a plant like this on Split is bad. Does this make sense for everybody now that I've explained it this way with Split as our mental model? So if it gets planted in this type of corner and we can't see it from our mid lurk, from A link, it's very difficult for us to convert the round on offense. Offense, is very important that we play post plant correctly because retakes on Pearl are similar to retakes on Split where they're not super difficult for the defenders if they play it correctly. So as Viper, we're going to be that mid lurker, that very slow mid lurker on offense. And we need to emphasize to our teammates that we want them to try and plant the bomb in these angles that can be peaked from A link, or in these angles that can be peaked from B heaven and B link, BCTs. We want the bomb planted somewhere that can be spotted easily from the lurker, okay? So we need to try and communicate that to our team when we're playing Viper on Pearl. It's very important. So if we go back into the game, let's say our team's going A, we can even give them this A orb because it's fine if we go mid late, okay? So we'll throw an orb for them. Let's say they want the dugout orb. 1, 2, 3, 4, a bit left, okay? And then we go over towards mid. And we're going to play real slow. We can put our wall up, pressure B a bit, control this space, but nothing crazy, okay? Wall down. Our goal here isn't to push up and kill them. Our goal is to push up after they think mid is good to go. So we want to get behind them. Just like in Split, when you watch in high elo, that mid lurker gets behind them, does not get spotted. You want to do that. You want to get walking towards like A link if the bomb's coming A, after it feels like the defenders have all rotated towards A. Okay, this is the timing you're hunting for. And you can get really tricky with this. So let's say Chamber always trips Art. No big deal. Pearl is such a complicated map. If the Chamber trip is Art, well then we can come through B this way. And we can come around Connector. And the inverse is true. So let's say our team's pushing B, so we haven't thrown that orb, and Chamber's always tripping in Connector. No big deal. We'll just super late lurk through Art as our team hits B, and we'll just go into their spawn. This really slow play is really, really, really powerful on this map, okay? So if your team's going B, they have a Chamber trip here, and you come this way. What about when they start expecting the lurk? Yeah, occasionally you'll go with your team, right? I'm not saying lurk every round. It's just like Viper and Icebox. We need to threaten it heavily. What's the best timing to start the mid lurk? I wish I could tell you that. That is super dynamic and dependent on your lobby, and that's what we're working on here in this playbook, okay? When we're lurking mid on a B hit, by the way, and we haven't thrown that A orb, we're generally going to do it from this side, and I need to show you real quick how we peek double doors, because double doors is very difficult for a lot of us to peek. So we'll clear here. We're going to actually walk up a bit closer. Clear until we get to the box. Oop, I went a bit too fast. Up to head level, across. And then we're going to play over here in this corner. Because remember, we're trying to listen. We're trying to understand when we're behind the enemy formation. Is there a chamber trip here? Do I need to walk through art? Are they maybe flanking out mid? And they're not going to clear you here, okay? If this guy's flanking out mid, he's going this way, this dude will almost never look in this corner. If he's going to clear, he's going to clear like this corner and then come back to walking this way. What do you do if they push up mid every round? You kill them. So on split, it's really hard actually to flank on defense because of this late mid lurker. And that's kind of what you're doing on offense is people flank a lot on Pearl right now, and you're going to get tons of free kills when they do that. Because of this late mid lurker who's tucked here or here, the defense usually ends up just rotating through spawn or through mid to go help their site. And Pearl is actually the same. I think people are misplaying Pearl across the board. Because on split, keep in mind, this will be more evident for you higher elo viewers. People generally do not do this type of flank, right, on split. And it should be evident why. It's really dangerous. There's lots of common deep lurk angles that are a problem on split when you do this type of flank. And Pearl is no different. The thing is, nobody's playing this way on Pearl outside of professional play right now. You should see a huge boost in your win rate when you're playing Pearl with this objective in mind. So that's why I can't encourage you to flank on defense, because technically, if we're in like a state of Nash equilibrium, in game theory, that means both teams are playing towards the optimal objective. In that sort of game state where they also have a Viper player who's trying to play this style, then flanking out on defense is bad because their Viper has a huge advantage. How bad is straight wall covering Heaven CT on B? Yeah, I don't like this wall. Oh, well, I didn't cover CT, but let's pretend it does. So Blink is totally open. Let me try and explain this answer in terms of breeze walls so you can get it. So the breeze wall here, notice it only cuts A in half. And you may be like, well, why don't we throw this A wall? That gives us more control. Or all the way over here to cover that pesky Halls guy. And I hope you can see why these walls are contesting too much space. We can't fight for all of this space. That's why the breeze wall instead favors, we only need half the site. Because if the bomb gets planted over here, we're chilling. Exactly the same idea on Pearl. This Viper wall that you're seeing your teammates throw is too ambitious. You're trying to take control of this entire site when we don't need the entire site. If we just have this front site, we can get the bomb down in an optimal spot because we just want the bomb over here anyways. Good luck in your Pearl games. She's a really strong solo controller on the map, and I think you're going to see a lot of success now that you have a decent idea of how you're going to play it.